Now live on the World Wide Web. So for our guests, we usually get 10, 11,000 people watching. No, we are broadcasting this live on our YouTube channel, and I really want to say to those watching on YouTube, thank you very much. I know people call or watch it on tape. We appreciate your attendance to this very important body, the Board of Education of the school district. Members of the board, public, and viewing public, tonight we have a special presentation that we're going to get into in a moment. We have to review the agenda for next Thursday. The meetings are back to back. We have an agenda meeting next Thursday, the 15th, and then we have two public hearings. The safety plan public hearing, which will be very short because there are very few changes to it, and then a public hearing which will start about 7 o'clock on the school budget, which I'll ask Julie and Becky to lead us in. In between, I plan to give my updates. So at the conclusion of the budget hearing, we can dismiss this evening. So thank you very much. Welcome to our board meeting of May the 8th. I would like to begin, with your permission. I'd like to just talk a little bit about what we're here for at the beginning of this board meeting. And tonight we are going to recognize our 30th, 31st, and 32nd distinguished alumni of the City School District of Niagara Falls. We began this 9 years ago. We know that it's important for the students, the 7,000 students that we have, to see graduates of Niagara Falls High School, LaSalle, Trott, the old high school, even the new high school. We think it's important that they see the alumni who went before them, who have done phenomenal things. And it's our hope that by placing their beautifully produced picture in every single one of our schools, that our teachers will point to those photos and say, I want you to take a look at this. This young man, this young lady went to Niagara Falls, went to LaSalle. You too can win an Academy Award. You too could be in the NFL. You too could be a doctor. You too could be a distinguished author. It's hope for our kids. It's appreciation for our alumni and those that have done wonderful things in their careers, and it all started in the Niagara Falls School District. That's the intent of what we do this for. So we're fortunate this evening that we're going to induct our next three into that class. They're very worthy. Unfortunately, two of the participants can't be here. One is serving his medical obligations. The other is in Boston, but our third distinguished alumni is with us this evening. And I would just like to begin, and I think what I'll do, is it all right with Ray? Can I move and get up and speak and still be on? Okay. I would much prefer not speak from behind the microphone, but to be out front here. And talk about our first distinguished alumni. Our first distinguished alumni is Dr. Jawad Mustafa. He is a Niagara Falls High School graduate of the class of 2011. Dr. Mustafa returned to Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center, and it's a professional milestone. His ambition was always to improve the health and well-being of the residents in our city. He particularly strived to help those that were underserved. This recognition of Dr. Mustafa celebrates his professional success, his commitment to service, and his inspiring journey. Dr. Mustafa attended Harry Abbott School. He went to LaSalle Middle School at the time, and then he graduated from Niagara Falls High School. He has then went on to Niagara University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science in Biology. He earned his medical degree from the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at the State University of Buffalo. He has received numerous honors. He is doing his work in community-based research. He He is doing work in internal medicine, preventive medicine, and he's devoted his life to research and practice of addressing health disparities among underserved populations. His efforts have been widely recognized, and he has been awarded numerous honors from the New York American College of Physicians. Dr. Mustafa is a graduate of Niagara Falls High School. He is back in his hometown, helping us at Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center. He went to Harriet School, LaSalle Prep School, and our new Niagara Falls High School. He is very deserving of a distinguished alumni recognition. So, in his absence, can we please give Dr. Mustafa a round? Just so everyone knows, this photo will be in every building in our district. Dr. Mustafa will get this to take for him. Hopefully, he'll put it in his office. And we asked each of the distinguished alumni to give us a quote. He said, "Oftentimes we are confronted with obstacles in our journey. It's okay to face setbacks along the way. What truly matters is determination to keep moving forward, no matter how hard it gets. You have the strength to overcome challenges you encounter. Keep pushing, believe in yourself. Your perseverance is ultimately what will help you achieve your dreams." So along with this beautiful picture of him, we want students in our schools to read what he wrote and how he's encouraged us. Thank you for allowing us to celebrate Dr. Mustafa. I also want to point out we have the pleasure of photojournalist extraordinary Dan Capilazzo. You may remember Dan. Dan is the genius. That was a parade way here. Queensway. Dan is these are beautifully done. We appreciate your work. We want this to be very special for all of us. Thank you.
Well, it's my honor to contribute to what you folks do for the kids and the generations of people coming through the district. So thank you for having me.
Our next distinguished alumni is a young man who I happen to know because he graduated the year before my youngest son, and he is just an incredible artist. And his nominator and his art teacher, and may I say, without question, maybe one of Niagara Falls City School District's finest teachers overall, Rob Lynch, is here to help make this presentation. Rob is very humble and will not take this deserved praise, but Rob was his inspiration. Rob was his mentor. Rob was not just to Fritz, but to many students. We have a gem of a teacher in Rob Lynch. And we were just saying that he grew up on 69th Street, so he was sitting in these same audience chairs a couple years ago. Rob's a real Renaissance man. He is a percussionist. He is a teacher. He's a phenomenal artist. I remember when I was his principal one time, I left my office, got up for about 20 minutes. I came back, he had done a chalk picture of me and put it on the wall. He did that. And it was Rob Lynch. And I said, oh my God, it was like, it took him 5 days, it took him 20 minutes. He's amazing. He's just an amazing person, an amazing teacher. Rob, would you join me?
You're too kind, Mr. Lord. Thank you.
That's the truth. Let me just say a few words about Fritz, and then I'll ask you to honor him. Fritz, we call him Fritz. I think his real name is Frederick. His real name is Frederick. But we've all known him in the district as Fritz Proctor. This is hard to believe. Fritz Proctor has over 10 million social media followers. That is 9,999,000 more than Russ Petrosky. It is a very big number. 10 million social media followers. I don't get one there. It's hard to believe.
Did you answer all the questions?
Yeah.
Answer all the questions.
He's pretty good at responding. But up Fritz Brocker, and you're gonna see an amazing, amazing artist. He has a Bachelor of Arts from the Studio Art from the State University of New York at Buffalo. He has done exhibits worldwide with solo and group showings. He's residing now in Boston, Massachusetts, where he paints from his home. Fritz worked on much of the street artwork that's in Niagara Falls. He has a gallery of murals in the city. His experiences combine his relationship with nature, his own experiences. Mr. Wood, I believe Fritz was also a hockey player on one of your 7 and 21 teams. That was correct. But I remember him being just a great, great kid. Just a great kid. And Rob, I know you have a special affinity for Fritz, and as a mentor and nominator, I just want you to say something about him.
Thank you so much for this honor. I could not be more proud. It's as good as teaching kids, and I'm just kind of flooded with memories. I worked with Fritz for only about 3 years, which is, in the grand scheme of time, is not very much. But when I first met him, he was just getting interested in art, and that just took off so quickly because he was such a wonderful student, so interested, kind of fearless, kind of courageous, just very motivated, very dedicated. He took every opportunity that was offered to him and created many of his own, which I think is a kind of a rare trait. Anything that I suggested, maybe we should apply for this. He was on it like the next. I never had to question. Maybe he'll do it. Maybe he won't. He always would do it, always. And many times it paid off, and then some. He's my most decorated art student by far. Like he won so many awards at the local shows and all that stuff. But he's just a kind, or is, a kind, compassionate, caring. One thing that it has very little to do with art, but in my head, I can always remember around the holidays, he showed up with a huge box of candy canes. And I said, Fritzy, what do you got going on there? What are you going to do with those? And he just walked around the lunchroom and just kind of distributed them to every kid, whether he knew them or didn't know them. It just created a lot of happiness, and that's the kind of kid he is. Nobody told him to do that. It was just a sweet little gesture. So I really just can't be more proud of him. He's a wonderful artist, a wonderful person, wonderful alumni at Niagara Falls High School. And I'll also say that to me, personally, growing up, back when we had 4 channels, or whatever was on TV, growing up, it was very exciting when I would see Bob Ross, right? Bob Ross was like kind of a magician to my young brain. And I feel like, I think we all agree, we generally want young people on their phones less. They're on the phone a little bit too much. But if they're going to be on their phone, I'm glad that he is one of the things capturing their attention. Because he's really inspiring a lot of the kids. Many of our students now, because of course he graduated, 10-ish years ago. So our current students maybe were, 5, 6, 7 years old at that time. So many of them don't know that he went to Niagara Falls High School, and they're amazed when they find that out. They're all, kind of fans of his, which is very cool. So, congrats, Fritz. And
Thank you, Mr. Laurie. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, you.
Sure.
Fritz simply says, whatever you want to be, start now, keep showing up.
That was Fritz.
That's
He was Mr. Dependable.
Fritz Brock, congratulations. Thank you, Rob. Dr. DeVore, would you come up, please? We're so pleased that Dr. Sydney DeVore is with us. She said, call her Sydney, but I was shocked last night. She attended our foundation dinner with her family, her husband, and her son. And I said, wow, you look so young. You graduated in 1965. And I saw Mr. Gallardo, and that was kind of the basis for it. I know he was your classmate. I believe he was your classmate. But we are so honored to have you here. We're so pleased that you're with us, with your family and friends and community. We're so pleased that you'll be adorning our halls as well. Let me just, if I can just say a few words about you.
She is a published author, a former speech pathologist for disabled children and adolescents at the Willowbrook State School. She's a pediatrician who specializes in health and sports medicine. She served as the executive committee of American Academy of Pediatric Council on School Health and is a member of the Academy's Leadership Forum on Organized Pediatricians. Dr. Dufour received national recognition from the American Academy of Pediatrics for distinguished service, dedication to her mission and goals of the Academy and her work in school health. She has also received recognition for distinguished service to high school athletics. She's a volunteer first responder of the Virginia Medical Reserve Corps. We are so proud that you're able to be here. We are so honored that you're one of our graduates. We're so thankful that you brought your family. We're able to spend time meeting our scholarship winners last evening. You will adorn the halls of all of our schools, and we appreciate you coming back and letting us feature you for our students. Thank you, Dr. Moore.
I have a soft voice, so I should probably speak to the microphone.
Make sure that baby's on there.
Is it on?
Oh, it's soft. I like it.
What an honor it is to be here in front of you. I want to thank Superintendent Mark Laurie and the Board of Education for this touching recognition. It's also wonderful to be joined by friends, including members of our 60th Reunion Committee who are here, and especially my family, my brothers of the heart, Kurt and Joey, my husband, Carl, who was just inducted into his high school Hall of Fame in Whittier, California last month, and our son, Michael, who took a rare day off of work for me. Thank you all for being here, for being you, and for loving me. As this day approached, I found myself going back to the 1965 yearbook, themed memories. Principal Grauer encouraged us to hold on to them, and I did. We baby boomers of the class of '65 were born just 2 years after World War II ended, and we grew up in the fabulous, but perhaps contradictory 1950s. We knew the Cold War that brought terrifying Cuban Missile Crisis to us. We awaited the polio vaccine to curb the horrific epidemic. We learned duck and cover drills in case of a nuclear attack, and we were taught how to identify blasting caps left behind 39th Street School by the Niagara Power Project. On the other hand, we rode in cars without seatbelts, we rode bikes without helmets, we played team sports on city streets between passing cars, and we played outside until the streetlights came on, being reminded by parents simply to play nice and look both ways. We entered Niagara Falls High School in September 1963 as the largest class in school history with over 650 students. I think that's a record we still hold. Ours was the first class to have homerooms in the new addition. I remember how bright and clean it was. It even smelled clean, at least for a couple of days. Our teachers left lasting impressions. Mrs. DiFrancesco, my favorite, began our geometry class the first day wordlessly by drawing 2 dots on opposite sides of a long blackboard. She started walking slowly, running the chalk from one dot to the other, connecting them. Finally, she turned and spoke. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. We have now started to learn geometry, she said. Miss Brennan made us memorize literary passages. It still comes in handy. For example, if I walk into a room and forget why, I can stand there and recite tomorrow, tomorrow, and tomorrow. But our innocence was shattered just 2 months in. On November 22nd, 1963, in my last period of study hall, I watched the flag be lowered to half-staff. Just as the loudspeaker clicked on, Mr. Grauer told us President John F. Kennedy had been shot and killed. He dismissed us, asking us to leave respectfully, and we did. In stunned silence, a collective horde of students walked home. Nothing was ever the same. The world around us was changing fast. Civil rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and the escalating war in Vietnam. Some of our classmates went and never returned, and they were so young. We learned about teach-ins, sit-ins, and happenings. We loved Dylan and the Beatles. And in a sign of change, Niagara Falls High School elected its first all-female slate of student council officers, and I was honored to be part of that. Through it all, we studied, we learned, we grew. And what I remember most is the strong school spirit and the kindness of our school community. We were taught formally and informally to choose love over hate. The class of 1965 came of age in a crucible of change. We were shaped not just by what we learned within our school walls, but what we witnessed beyond them. And in what felt like the blink of an eye, the June of 1965 arrived. We walked across that stage and we stepped into adulthood. In the years since, I continue to have the privilege of being a pediatrician and the marvelous experience of being the medical director for Orleans Niagara BOCES, actually covering children with special needs whose home district is the Niagara Falls City School. What an honor that role has been to allow me an opportunity to give back to my school district for all it has given me. I believe our class also tried to give back more than we've taken, to leave things a little better than we found them, and always to remember that everything we say and do matters. Thank you again for this tremendous honor. You've touched my heart, you fueled my soul, and I am deeply and forever grateful. Thank you.
Those were such beautiful words. I wanted to just read for everyone. Dr. DeVore says, everything you say and do matters. If it truly matters, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. Choose wisely, speak, and act with thoughtful purpose. We're so honored, Dr. DeVore, to have you represent yourself and your family in all of our schools. Congratulations.
Center here.
Now we got an actual photographer working, positioning us.
I'm not usually the tallest.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you. Congratulations.
So Dr. Mustafa, Dr. DeVore, Mr. Fritz Proctor, thank you for allowing us to celebrate you this evening. We're proud of you and we're glad that you're alumni. So, thank you so much. Now, on to other issues. Hard to make that transition sometimes because it's so touching. And Doctor, your words were so heartfelt. Thank you so much. They'll stay with us a long time. I'd like to take this opportunity to go through the agenda of next Thursday, if you would. It's a pretty brief agenda. And Maria, you're ready in the bullpen? You got it. You got it.
Can I add one thing?
Sure. Oh, sure, Rob.
About Rob Lynch. By the way, I'm not jealous of many people, but growing up, and he had a photograph of his band Plaster Sandals at Media Play. And when I found out that I think he painted that picture, but also as a budding young musician, seeing Rob Lynch displayed his band at Media Play, I was humbled and jealous, and I still am. He's a wonderful, articulate, and wonderful person. So
Yeah.
good job, Mr. Lynch.
No,
Great job.
everything you say, it's so true, Rob, so true. Yeah, Rob, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you, and we're lucky to have you. We're lucky to have you. Let's begin, if we may, members of the board. The meeting is next week. I'd like to take you right down to, if I could, with the help of Becky and Julie, if need be, I'd like to take you down to our bids, because they're the usual items until we get to bids. The first bid I'd like to speak about is school apparel. We had no bidders, even though we direct solicited a number of companies. So what we did is we reissued that bid early this week, and we gave it a 5 or 7 day turnaround. And we're hoping to have the apparent low bidder for you for next week. I'll be sure to copy you on who that is. The second bid we have is for plumbing and HVAC supplies. ERB, E-R-B, I believe I'm saying that correctly, is the apparent low bidder. Tony, what? They're from Buffalo. I believe we've had them in the past. We have. Along with the school apparel, the athletic and in-game uniform bid had to be redone, followed the same procedure. We had no bidders. Yes, that's correct. Interesting. The print and distribution of the newsletter, our company that is doing it now, Datamation, was the apparent low bidder. There were 2 bids. This was the apparent low bidder. This is very interesting. Plow trucks. You know, we had a meeting about plow trucks. And you also did a proprietary resolution for Ford vehicles. We also had no bids for the plow trucks, which is interesting. I am going to suggest that we pull that from next week's agenda and direct solicit and repost this bid. So I did want you to know that because it went out this way, but we had no bidders. I know. We were quite surprised, really quite surprised. Not one bid. The on-call plumbing, I'm sorry, Nick.
Just got a question. You go through the state bidding process for his vehicles?
And post the bid based on the municipal law.
Yeah.
But when you say the state bidding process.
But doesn't this, with the fire department, we had a state, went through a state bid to get vehicles.
Oh, you did not go through the New York OTS contract?
Yeah.
We did not do that. We did an open bid.
Okay. I don't know if you'd, might be better off trying that.
It's an option.
Yeah.
We do not deny responses to the next.
Because we found out it was a little cheaper than doing through the conventional bidding process, but.
I think Becky hit on it. If we don't get any bids the next time, we'll consider that. But we're going to pull this from next week's vote and really push this out again. I think the good news, always try to look for the good news. The good news is that we're doing it early. You know, we're doing it early, and hopefully it won't start snowing for another month or two. So we'll get the trucks in plenty of time. I know. The on-call plumbing services, Swanson again is going to be recommended to you. They were the low bidder, and we, just so you know for your reference, we did use them one time last year for an emergency repair. And finally, the supplemental classroom books goes to our local book corner on Main Street. They were the apparent low bidder, and we extend our relationship for supplemental books with the book corner. I would like to ask Maria if she would come forward, and while she's coming forward, I'm going to tell you that there will be definitely one addition to the personnel report next week. And that addition that I can speak to, Maria, is that we are going to add the 2025-2026 no, what year are we in, 2025? 2025, 2026 school calendar. Maria has negotiated with all of the unions the school calendar, which is what we need to do, and she will attach that to your packet next week.
I will do so, Mr. Laurie, thank you. And let's begin with the certificated report tonight. If you look at page 1, you'll see we have a retirement of a first grade teacher at 79th Street. We also have a resignation of an ELA teacher at Gaskill Prep School. Moving on to the second page, we have a 60-day conversion that will happen on May 19th. And then we have our tenure appointments, and we are certainly very proud of these tenure appointments. As you know, tenure appointments are the conferring of an employment status upon Mr. Laurie's recommendation to you in your vote. Their tenure then becomes effective on the first day into the next school year. Mr. Laurie, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I do. I want to say that, just go through the process. The principal of each of these individuals make the recommendation to Ms. Massaro. She presents them to me. I review the evaluations, and then I put them before you. So I will confidently tell you that the names before you this evening have met the requirements and are performing their duties to the best of their ability and have earned tenure. They've earned tenure. So I'm pleased to recommend these names.
Yes, we are very proud of this class of tenure candidates. Next up, you'll see leave of absence, and then we start on page 6, all the way through page 18. First, we have our per diem work. This is our per diem certificated summer work. It has to do with the summer CSE office work, Camp Wolverine, the summer extended learning program, the ENL teachers, the prep school summer credit recovery program, the special education coordinators, and then we move into Schedule B. Schedule B has information regarding the Soapbox Derby and then some additional trainings and events that have occurred and or will occur between now and the end of the school year. Does anybody have any questions about the balance of the certificated report this evening?
Other than the calendar, do you anticipate any more coming on here?
Not in the certificated report unless we start to add staffing for next year.
Right.
Which we probably won't. We'll do in June, but just on the outside chance that we did, it would be on next report.
Yeah, you're going to see a very packed June report because in all fairness, with what we have in front of us, I will probably start staffing next week, but there won't be time to get it on your report. Correct. So the calendar is coming, and you'll have time next week to explain the calendar.
Okay, I will do so. Thank you, Mr. Laurie. And then we're on to our classified report. And on our classified report, you're going to see the retirements of 2 long-term employees in the district. These 2 employees will be very, very missed.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to comment on that now or next week, Mr. Laurie.
I do. I'll speak about them individually. One is a member of Ray's department who definitely will be missed. He does quite a few things, and of course, at the time, if Earl ever returns, he'll certainly tell you the second name, how valuable she's been as an employee in this district, and we're really sad to lose her, but we celebrate her retirement.
Moving on to the second page, we have been fortunate enough to have a nurse returning to us. This nurse had resigned, and now she's coming back, and we're very happy to welcome her back. We have some temporary appointments, some change of status from temporary to probationary, some leaves of absence, an involuntary transfer, and then, again, some information regarding summer work. Additions to the next report, potentially, if you want to talk about adding things with a star, we may look to hire our associate summer staff if we can get them on by next week. Otherwise, they'll be hired on the June report as well. Any questions about the certificated or classified report this evening? Thank you.
You do have 1 full week before we're asking you to vote on any of the names. If you have any questions on any of those names, I would ask you to contact Maria directly or myself. Moving to the short-term contracts, the first name, Kimberly Gingrich, is a service that we need to provide for for 4 special education students. The next individual is paid for out of the Indian Education Grant. This is for a Native American cultural event. It's part of the grant. Number 3, Ms. Hicks, is we are I would say is a pass-through for community development money because she is performing tutoring for students. So the Community Development Office of City Hall can award that only to institutions of education. We are the one in the city, and we will take the money and she will perform her tutoring with our students, but the money comes from the Community Development Office. The Earth Rangers is for a STEM assembly at Bleneva Bond. There's no cost to it, but we always like to check insurances and liability protections and so forth. And finally, Sergey Web Solutions will design our 25-26 school calendar, which I know parents really rely on and enjoy having. I don't anticipate any other short-term contracts. You have your Head Start reports. There are only 8 resolutions this month. It's a short resolution month. We do have 1 grant that we're accepting. This is the ESEA, or the Secondary and Elementary Education Act SIG-A money. It's $100,597. Mr. Corella is responsible for administering this with our targeted schools. And a lot of the personnel you will see are tied to this grant money. This is for school improvement. 602 is the payment to Scrofari. 603 and 604 is the payment to Danforth. 605 is the payment to Fry. 606 is the first resolution, is the payment. I'm trying to see if is that the payment or the retainage. That's the payment to Greater Niagara. Greater Niagara is now done. They installed the boiler system at Cataract. They are completely done, So we are also paying their retainage back. They owe us no work. They've turned everything in. The boilers are running great. We're paying them off. We're paying their retainage back, and we're saying thank you for a job well done. Parenthetically, Greater Niagara is doing the work in this building. Remember, we talked about it. They are doing a fantastic job. They're a very local company. I'm really proud that we're using them. And like Danforth, I have nothing but good things to say about their work. And then 608 is to pay Stark Technology. They're helping with the technology. Members of the board and public, those are all of our resolutions for this month. It's a very slow month in terms of resolution. The grants have all been taken hold. The contracts are all in place through next year. These are just payments. And as you can see, with the exception of one exception to a grant, these are payments for work that was done sufficiently, adequately, and well done by our contractors on our capital projects. There aren't any policies on the docket. We do have a meeting on the, well, just take a quick note while Ray has it up there. June meetings are on the 5th and the 12th. Just to point that out, Dr. Holmes is going to join us. Dr. Holmes is the new SUNY president. He's going to join us on the 12th. And on the 5th, Cheryl Villardo and the high school team will be here to talk about graduation. And remember, we've got to do those resolutions, you know, the voluminous book of resolutions for for the reorganization meeting on July 2nd. So we'll start going through those with you so that we don't have to take that whole book at one time. We do have a meeting on the 15th. I don't know if you have that up there, Ray, anywhere close. We'll go through, we'll do a review of these meetings again. And on the 15th in pre-session, we have 2 rather involved executive session items. So we'll take our executive session time, as I've discussed this with the president during that portion of the meeting. There are 2 items. These are for the 15th, not for tonight. And at the proper time, I'll read the reasons for that meeting. But we do need some time with you in executive session for what will be legal issues that I'll talk more about and be very precise with the reason for the record when it comes time to that. I also wanted to just pull up one more agenda, and that is on the 21st of, remember you have 3 meetings this month. Now this is a very short meeting. It's the 21st. It's at 8 o'clock. At this meeting, the meeting is at 8 o'clock. There will be no meeting before that. I'm sure you'll meet in the horseshoe room. It's to certify the results of the budget and the election. So those are the 2 purposes if you'd scan a little, Ray. It's a statutory meeting. The first is to certify the results of the budget and the election, and the adoption of the resolution certifying such. That's on the 21st. So it goes tonight, next Thursday, and then Wednesday, the 21st. Those are the meetings. Now, in about 10 minutes, we have to have a public hearing on the district safety plan, and I'm going to ask Maria to help me with this. It is very short, very few changes to the code of conduct, very few changes, mainly wording. I am going to give a caveat because we will have to come back and amend this to include the cell phone regulations. They haven't even been officially approved because the state budget isn't done. But the bills are starting to come out, and I was able to read a little bit about the cell phone law today, and I'll talk about it after Maria presents. So and then at 7 o'clock, we have to transition to the public hearing on the budget. Now, we had 7 weeks of presentation on the school budget, and at that time, we'll ask Julie and Becky to take you through the required PowerPoint slide and entertain any questions on the budget. Once again, drips and drabs of information are coming in on school runs. Nothing that we're seeing is going to change this budget presentation $1 or 1 slide. So we need to do that by statute at 7 o'clock this evening, and then we will be complete. Are there any questions? While we have a few moments, if it would be your pleasure, between now and then by 7 o'clock, if I could do my updates now, is that all right if I give you guys some updates? Ladies and gentlemen, not guys, ladies and gentlemen, if I give you some updates on some things, is that okay? Judy, I'll call on you first. So the poll workers are ready for the 20th. I believe we have 13 students ready to work. Is that correct?
That's correct.
We have 13 students committed to be poll workers on the 20th. That's good. So 13 of our 21 spots will have a Niagara Falls High School student that will work the 11 to 8 shift. We are doing something interesting at Gaskill. We started a bike repair club. I just think this is interesting. We're teaching middle school kids at Gaskill how to repair bicycles. It's an after-school club. That's a great idea. It's an after-school club, and listen to this. Go Bike Buffalo has donated all of the parts. Yesterday at the session, they took the bikes apart. Next week, they start putting the bikes back together. And upon successful completion of this program, Go Bike Buffalo is purchasing a brand new bike, helmet, and riding pants for every student in the program. That's all been donated by Go Bike. But I think it's kind of cool. At first, we're starting with our STEM type kids who are really into this. We have a small turnout, but now we know word's starting to spread, especially when it was announced that you'd get a brand new, beautiful bike once you completed this in 6 weeks. So I'm excited because it's different. And it leads into our motif of getting kids trained and working with their hands as they prepare to do things. So we have a bike repair club at Gaskill. I thought that was kind of interesting. This is something I'm super proud of. I haven't seen this before, Niagara Falls High School. I looked at the 30-week honor roll. 832 students. Now, I know the school, Nick, has close to 2,000 students. 832 kids on an honor roll at the 30-week mark is a pretty big number. I just wanted to congratulate those students at Niagara Falls. 832 of you have an average over 90%. I just wanted to tell those students and those that are working toward it, congratulations. That's a big number. I'm going to challenge Niagara Falls High School to hit 1,000 by the 40-week marking period. But 832 kids with an average over 90, I think deserves recognition. This Saturday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, our teachers and coaches, who are coaches in the robotics program, through the work of this Board of Education, are flying again to Dallas, Texas. 8 of our students from LaSalle Prep have qualified to be in the World Robotics Championships. I would like to read their names. Kylie Skronik, Ariana Kessler, Liliana Esposito, Emily Masker, Andrew Chase, Blake Copeland, Rylan Glenn, and Michael Markowitz. They're going to compete with students from all over the world in the World Robotics Championships, along with their coaches. I don't want to miss one, Del Porto, McGrath, Wisniewski, Clark, and others who have contributed to that. I wish those students, the coaches, the families, because families are going on their own payment, good luck. I'm glad you're representing Niagara Falls High School, and I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years if they're not receiving a Distinguished Alumni Award. I'd also like to tell you that the New York State Office of Early Learning completed their audit of our pre-K program. And Ms. Buckman led it this year. She did a pretty good job her first time out. We received outstanding feedback. Our post-audit meeting lasted about 12 minutes. That should tell you that there weren't any major correctable items. They visited, along with Carrie, 10 of our pre-K classrooms, including Maple Avenues. Maple, where else did you go, Carrie? GJ Mann, High Park, Maple, and LaSalle Education Center. They visited those teachers in those classrooms, and we got a really solid report. And why is that important? It's important because we're doing the right thing, but it's also important because $5.4 million of our money go to those programs. So thank you, Carrie. Thank you to those teachers. It was a great review. Moving forward, and I know Mr. Petrozzi in particular has been very instrumental in this, but I want to announce, and there'll be a more formal announcement of this, that we are very close to signing a partnership agreement with an organization out of Buffalo called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. On the 26th of April, Mr. Wooten, myself, Mr. Burgess, and Jamie Schmidt for our Family Support Center went Saturday at 9 o'clock and watched Sleep in Heavenly Peace work. What does Sleep in Heavenly Peace do? They build beds for kids that don't have beds. And I think they were distributing 160 beds in Buffalo that day. I'm pleased to tell you, especially with your support, Russ, that we are going to be the first franchise outside of Buffalo for Sleep in Heavenly Peace. It's going to work through our Bleneva Bond Family Support Center, and we'll be able to, hopefully in September, begin delivering beds through a process, just like our clothes bank, food bank. These are beautiful wooden bunk beds, single beds, where people provide the bedding to our families in need. So I'm excited about that. Russ, thank you for the contact. You're the one that put us in contact with this. But I'm really proud to tell you the school district will be the first franchise of Sleep in Heavenly Peace. I have a couple of more, and then I know we have to start our hearing.
Mark, if I could add something.
Sure.
Sleep in Heavenly Peace. I appreciate the thanks, but an old friend of mine, John Cousins,
Okay?
Started a chapter in Tallahassee. So when we officially introduce it, he'll be here.
Good.
He's the one that gave me the idea.
You know somebody in every city, Russ, I'll tell you. It's pretty cool. I mean, so let me just put this out there to the public. This is not Mr. Wooten and certainly not me building beds. These are volunteer, we're going to need volunteers. We are going to need community groups, church groups to come in and help us do this. This is an operation. So again, this is going to have a lot of volunteer call. So we know we have people in the community. We know we have church groups, community groups who will help with the building. They actually do the building. And we saw a team of 30 from Grand Island. The day we went to watch it, there was a group from Grand Island who went. Now, the nice thing about that group was they said, you're doing one in Niagara Falls, we'd rather come to you to help because you're closer to us. That's what they said. I hope they're not watching in Buffalo, but that's what they said. So this is not given, we have to build these, but we'll have the builds are on Saturday mornings from 8 to noon, and the deliveries happen. So it's really going to be exciting. And we know, unfortunately, there's so many of our students don't have beds.
And don't leave out, we'll be looking for sponsors.
Oh, thank you.
We're looking for sponsors to help
We'll need
pay for the beds.
right. All of this is free, but certainly they ask for sponsors. If anyone wants to, if they don't want to build and they want to sponsor, $50, something like that, we would contribute sponsorships to that. I'll give one more, and then we'll start. Because I just want to be upfront and put this on the record. We have been working with National Grid. We finally have our outage dates for LaSalle and Gaskill. The LaSalle outage date is June 13th. Unfortunately, the Gaskill is July 16th. I say unfortunately because we're going to not hit this spring window. It is out of our control. We are at the mercy of National Grid. The good news is that we have dates. We're going to get this up and running. We're going to get our project complete. We will have all schools air conditioned, but it won't occur until after those dates. But at least we've got that locked in now. So I just want to report that publicly to everyone. I have a couple of other things, but I will wait as I see it's 6:30.
Okay, Mr. Laurie, let's see what we have here. Okay, we're going to start with the public hearing on the safety plan. Is that an amendment, or just the safety plan?
Just the safety.
Just the safety plan. We'll start with the pledge to the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll have a prayer by Mr. Pareto.
Everybody.
Bless everybody in our district, teachers, staff, of course our children, as we go towards making our district better financially, peacefully, and keep it secure. We cannot do this without your name, Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much, Tony. And Judy, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bass,
Excused.
Mr. Bilson, I believe is remote.
He's here. Is he remote now?
I believe he's remote. Do you see Mr. Granary? Okay. Mr. Consemi, excused.
Excused.
Mr. Capizzi.
Excused.
Excused. Mrs. Dunn. Mr. McLeod. Here. Mr. Pareto.
Here.
Mr. Velardo. Here. Mr. Petrosi.
Here. Okay, so we have 5 and 1 on remote, correct, Jude?
If Mr. Bilson has joined us, correct. Yes.
We're good, so we got 6. Okay, we'll start our code of conduct review. I'll let Mr. Laurie start this process.
Thanks. I really rely on Maria and team for so much, both because of her human resources and legal knowledge and her ability to interpret state statutes and things like that. So I appreciate your oversight, Maria, on all of this. And I know it was it's a very some simple changes, but if you would please take us through what occurred at the Code of Conduct.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Lawyer. And I also do want to recognize Tom Fisher because he does facilitate the committees for us on this. The Code of Conduct and the district-wide safety plan are part of the SAVE legislation that has been in place since the year 2000. So it's hard to believe that we are 25 years now into these plans, but we are 25 years into these plans. So when we're talking about modification of them, we have to remember these are living documents that we update annually due to our statutory requirement, but also follow the ebbs and flows of the need to keep our schools safe and make sure that we're regulating the conduct of the students and staff in the buildings. So, Ray, if you wouldn't mind moving forward through. Here are the committees. Just to note, statutorily we're required to have administrators, teachers, students, parents, representatives from law enforcement, representatives from the fire department, and other representatives from the community. So you can see up there who all the individuals are who serve on these committees. And I don't want to mention all their names, but I hope everybody can see that we have met the statutory requirement to have all the different stakeholders present. Moving on, the committee met in person at the high school. Again, Tom Fisher facilitated the meetings. The Code of Conduct and the safety plan were reviewed and only minor changes were made. Language was added for the Big Picture program at Niagara Falls High School. And also we have started this year a Sandy Hook reporting system. Mr. Lawyer, I'm not sure if that's something that you want to discuss further at this time, but it is something that we have implemented and as a team here in central office and with the schools have addressed on several occasions.
Sure, I know the board members are familiar with this because when we get a Sandy Hook referral, I always share that with the board members. But for those in the audience and the viewing public, Sandy Hook is an anonymous tip line. It costs us nothing to subscribe. A couple of years ago, you had a presentation on this. This is a phone number and a website that students in our prep and high schools have. And if they're feeling threatened or they feel that they may harm themselves, they can access this service. Now, I'm pleased to tell you that we have had a good system in place for this to occur. I'm sad to tell you, but it's really the reality of what we do. We've received a number of calls on this line. What happens is a student makes a referral, it's sent to a central registry, and the central registry has all of our names, the people at the table and the principals of the school. And what we do day or night, and oftentimes they come at 11 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the evening, 2:30 in the morning, we respond if somebody has what's called a life-threatening situation, harming themselves or someone else. The usual response is that if it's after hours, we will dispatch one of our school resource officers who are also on the call. They'll go to the home and do what we'd call a welfare check. If everything is okay, we'll make sure that first thing in the morning, the school administration and school counseling team follows up with a student. It's really unquantifiable to know how many lives we may have saved. But I really believe we're giving kids another outlet and we're putting another safety precaution in place in case a student has feelings of harming themselves or others. We'll never know how many we save, but I believe it's a good service, and we've added this to the Code of Conduct.
Okay, moving on, please, Ray. Thank you. The recommended changes we made, language added to clearly prohibit social media content on any platform during school time, and cyberbullying will include district messaging. Now, Mr. Laurie mentioned to you, again, this is the Code of Conduct we're talking about, that this will be clearly expanded once we receive all of the guidelines and the budget and it clearly passes. So.
And if you wouldn't mind, this is not in the PowerPoint, but the bills have not been officially voted on, but I tried to read, because sometimes when you read those bills, it's hard. You have to be a lawyer, and I'm far from one. But this is what the cell phone bill, I picked out 4 lines from the cell phone bill in the state budget that certainly need a lot more discussion, understanding, et cetera, and it hasn't passed, but I'm sure it will. That the Board of Education will be charged with adopting a written policy prohibiting electronic devices during the school day on school property. During the school day on school property. I kind of like that because the original bill said on school property. I like on school day because the original bill said on during school, leaving a lot of questions that if you're at a football game, do we have to ban your cell phone? Which I think would be quite a bit of an issue. But the bill specifically and explicitly states during the school day on school property. If it's during the let's use 8 to 3. 8 to 3 on school property. And you need to say in your policy 1 or more storage methods. Using the lockers might be that's an acceptable way for the phones. I don't know what we're going to do yet. We need to talk. There are exceptions. Permission of the teacher, principal, or the district for authorized use. Healthcare reasons in the event of an emergency, for translation services, or if you're legally required. I don't know what all of that means yet. And finally, that we have to have this done by August 1st, 2025. That is about 3 months from now. So we have a little bit of work to do here. And yeah, we got it. And that beginning on September 1st, 2026, the board has to issue a report annually about cell phones and the enforcement thereof. So we have some work to do. That is me extrapolating information from a bill that I had to read about 3 times this afternoon. I don't have any other information. The state will put out a frequently asked questions section, and from there we'll start engaging in how we will implement it. I have some ideas, but I'd also like to get some stakeholder input. This is going to be quite significant. I'd also like to talk to our friends in Lackawanna. Lackawanna did this willingly this year. While they're 1/3 of our size at the high school, I'm sure there are lessons that we can learn from them. So, again, that is not part of this tonight's hearing. That is just me sharing information with you.
Okay, thank you, Ray, if you wouldn't mind. So that's the end of our presentation. At this time, because this is the public hearing, we have to give the public the opportunity to come up and comment. Please, if anybody would like to do so, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll be able to adjourn the public hearing. Mr. Petrozzi, would you like to offer members of the public the opportunity to come forward?
Sure. Anyone in the audience wish to comment? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Sure.
Please.
My apologies. Didn't see you, Doctor.
Didn't plan on saying anything today. Question, the cell phone, part of the discipline and safety hearing, I'm just going to say offer that the Niagara Community Information Group, we already did a couple of teen hall hearings where we talked to the students and parents and a couple of teachers that were present to get some feedback. So we're offering, if there's any information you like from what we've gathered from our hearings, just let us know. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing none, how about a motion to adjourn, please? A motion, second. Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nick? Nick was the second. Pardon me? Oh, Claire was the second?
Claire was the second.
Sorry, Claire. Okay. Now, we will, well, we got some time, Mark.
Well,
Want to finish your
I'll
comments?
continue my updates if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
If it's all right. Let's do something celebratory. Can you believe this? I missed this. I received today in the mail Board of Education Excellence Award Board Achievement Award, both for the same person. The New York NSBA is providing a Certificate of Excellence recognition in their program of 150 points to a Miss Clara Dunn. And also, at the same time, Miss Dunn must be very busy because she received a second board achievement and picked up 75 more points for her work. So just for the viewing public again, Mrs. Dunn, and for all the board members, all of the board members go through continuing education. And when they go through that education, New York State School Boards collects their time and issue certificates so that they track how much education our board members are making. So Mrs. Dunn, congratulations. And there's a beautiful folder for you. Thank you very much and good work. You're welcome. I love it. If we have a few minutes, I'll continue going on. This is quite a serious issue, and I really want to make sure that everyone is listening. This past week, I have been along with Ms. Massaro, Ms. Holliday, and Mr. Smeal. Together, we have been responding and working on the issues related to the 56th Street Goodyear plant. We had a lengthy conversation with the Department of Environmental Conservation and a lengthy conversation with the Department of Health at the New York State level. We are not ignoring this issue. As I have told the press and as I told both of those agencies, we are doing three things daily and have been doing three things because of Earl's foresight. Earl has continued to monitor the filters. We change our filters in our schools continuously. Earl, long before this issue became prominent, was monitoring our filters. Earl, being Earl, also monitored the exterior of our building for any residue or anything like that. He's been doing that and was doing that before this became an issue just because he's a good facilities person. We've also initiated our own private and our own independent testing. Private meaning it's something that I told you about, and you authorized Stoll Environmental to do testing for us. The results of that testing have not yet been returned. When they are, we will be sure to share that with you. We think it could take upwards of 3 weeks. In the meantime, we continue to engage in conversations with the state DEC and the State Department of Health. We're concerned not just for our neighbors and students in this area, but we're concerned for our school and our staff, our teachers and our kids. So we are going above and beyond. I just want to put this out there because at the conclusion of both of the calls, the DEC and the DOH offered this, and I tested it because I made a call myself, or I went to the website and asked a question. I wanted to see if these were really working, and I'd get a response. If you go to the website, Goodyear Tire Ampersand, I think I said that right, Ampersand Rubber Company. Goodyear Tire Ampersand and Rubber Company, but that's an ampersand in the middle. Hyphen DYSED, Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. That's an ampersand, not the word and. Hyphen NYSDEC, New York State DEC, you'll find their website. There is a mailbox. What I did yesterday is I put a question in there at 6 o'clock last night. And this morning at 8 o'clock, or when I came to work at 5:30 this morning, no, I didn't. I came in later than that. When I came in, I had a response to my question. So I wanted to see if it worked. I would encourage anyone to send your questions or comments to that website. When we spoke to the Department of Health, they gave us a phone number. I'll repeat this very slowly. You'll get a mailbox, and they promise you'd get a return call. The phone number for the State Department of Health is 718-402-7800. 718-402-7800. Call my office if you need either of those repeated. Call that number if you have questions. We are trying to work together. We are trying to work with those agencies. but we know that we need to stay on top of this issue for the health and safety of our kids and our neighbors and schools. Please know that we are on top of this. Changing the subject, if I may, I want to thank our school nurses. Maria said that we're lucky to have had a nurse return to us, and we're glad that that's happening. But this is Nurses Week, and we so appreciate our school nurses. We know what a difficult job you have, and we know what a commitment you make to work in a school because you have so many other opportunities. So school nurses, we thank you. Teacher Appreciation Week goes without saying. Nothing happens, and I really like the way Dr. DeVore started with Ms. DeFrancesco putting 2 dots in a line. Nothing happens without a skilled teacher like Ms. DeFrancesco or Rob Lynch. I appreciate all of the teachers that we have in this district. I honor you and I thank you for what you do. It is a very complex job, The days of Mr. Lynch being able to just teach art are over. He has to be counselor, he has to be social worker, he has to be encourager, he has to be art teacher, he has to be classroom manager. He has so many other jobs, and that doesn't go unnoticed for him or any of our teachers in the district. So I say thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, next Thursday we will announce the ad hoc member of the school board. I want to congratulate the administration and student council at Niagara Falls High School. You remember we had 15 students raise their hand and say, I'm interested in being an ad hoc member. By statute, we have to have a student at this board table July 1st. They'll be here for the reorg meeting. We didn't. Under the direction of Cheryl Villardo at the high school, a process was developed and questions and rubric were developed. 15 students were screened. The field was narrowed down to 5 students. The field of 5 were all interviewed at length by the team. And this afternoon she shared with me that they had a selection from the committee. What she would like to do is talk to all 5 of those students personally that made it to the final 5 and meet with them individually before we announce that. So I'm going to ask you for 1 more week's grace period. And just like we swear in new board members or re-swear in board members, I'm going to ask you that we do that with our student representative on July 2nd. And even though that person is not a voting meeting, we will put a section on the board agenda so that he or she, whomever is selected, will have a chance to speak or weigh in on any issues. So I'm excited about that. I wanted to take a moment as we get close to the presentation to tell you 3 other things that I learned from the state budget. As I said, there is no state budget yet, but things are trickling in. I thought this was a good thing. The 2 good things. The 0 emissions for electric buses. There is a provision now that you can ask for up to 2 years of 2 waivers of 2 years. So if you don't have it by 2027, you could ask for a waiver, push it to 2029, and then ask for a waiver to 2031. Personally, I think that's really good. I really think that this needs to be slowed down. I could spend the next 20 minutes telling you why after I told you about our air conditioning, but that is a bill in the state budget, the delay of the 0 emission buses. Also in the budget, again, not finalized, but the earnings waiver limit has been extended for retirees for 2 years. And we do use the earnings waiver limit. So that's in the budget. On top of that, as I wind down my comments, let me just speak for a moment about the budget. We just received the runs, and I know Becky and Julie are going to come up here in a moment. We just received the runs, so we need a good week here to kind of sift through all this. It's very late. Nothing that they're going to tell you in the next 5 minutes will change. As a matter of fact, there's a May 15th enrollment date where they look at our enrollment as to how much money we get. So things are still much in flux. I did notice two things that were a little concerning, though. The first one was that foundation aid across the state decreased in the whole budget by 37.7 million. It's a little bit concerning. And secondly, they used the formula, which is usually a good thing, but what dropped was the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. The numbers that we used were for a CPI of 3.1. They're using a CPI of 2.9 right now. So again, nothing that I'm overly concerned about, nothing that'll change our budget, but those are just two things out of thousands of pages that I had the patience to read through, and I didn't have a lot of time, nor did Becky or Julie, to kind of go through all of the items in the budget.
A question, Mark, and I don't mean to ask it because I'm not sure if you would know, but the CPI is a number. What do they do, make up their own CPI?
I asked the same
Like
question.
everything else they do?
Who wants to answer that? I asked the same question today, Russ, go ahead.
There she is. Okay, here we go.
Julie, give us the nice soft answer so I don't give it the hard answer.
Yes, they adjusted the CPI over a course of a certain number of years, where before it was always the prior year CPI. Now they're kind of blending it to 3 years, 5 years. I would say whatever works in their favor.
Pretty soon they'll pick 1968 or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll repeat what Julie said so sweetly and nicely as she always is. They used to look back 1 year for the CPI. Now they're going back 10, 5? They went. We don't know. That's the level we don't know, how many years they went back. All I know is the number is now 2.9. It was 3.1. So go figure. I don't know where in the law it says you go back 1 year, the next year you go back 5 years, the next year you go back 2 years. Nonetheless, it caught our attention today. And Russ, I asked the same question to them at 10:30 this morning. Like, where did this come from? It's really why sometimes state government can be very frustrating. We're sitting on May 8th, and we're having a budget hearing in 4 minutes, and we're asking these questions. And I know it's a hard job, but my God, we are responsible for turning all of our work in on time, and the students are responsible for turning all their work on time. I'll leave it there. That's about all I have on the budget. I will end with two things. And I assure you I'll end on a positive, but I just wanted to pause for a minute. A gentleman who sat here for over 450 meetings named Don King tragically lost his granddaughter and his granddaughter's husband this week in an accident in North Carolina. These young people perished in a car accident, 30 years old. They leave behind a 2-year-old baby. Because he's a friend, he's a board member, he's a community activist, he's a good person. It breaks my heart, and I know we'll honor him next week. But boy, if that doesn't put in perspective what's really important in life, nothing will. And I know on behalf of the district, especially myself, our hearts go out to Mr. King, who's just a great community man on his loss, and his wife and his daughter and their whole family. So it's sad. It's with sadness that I say it, and it's with your hope for prayers for that family. So it just makes me remember that we do really, really important stuff here, but nothing's more important than taking care of each other and being safe and being good with everything. So God bless their souls and prayers for the family. So on a different note, because it is Sunday and we won't be here, I want to start by wishing Miss Dunn happy Mother's Day. And all of the mothers that are in the room here with us, all of the grandmothers, all the godmothers, all the aunts, all the women who make the men a heck of a lot better because of what they do for us. So moms and all that support us, and all the moms of our kids, and all the grandmoms of our kids, enjoy your day. Your day really is 365 days long. We couldn't do it without you. And for our board mom, Mrs. Dunn, well, we say Happy Mother's Day to you for being a great mother and really a superb grandmother. You're a superb grandmother. You really are. So have a good day. That's all we have for this evening. I know we do have this public hearing to conclude the night. Okay? No, I think when she gets the...
North Carolina. Yeah, I thought, which I understand is a busy road.
I've been on that. I assured that I've never been on
Okay, thank you, Judy.
that. Horrible.
Call the public hearing to order. Judy, would you call the roll?
I have Mr. Bass is excused. Mr. Billson remote. Mr. Consemi excused. Mr. Capizzi excused. Mrs. Dunn? Here. Pardon me, Mr. McLeod? Mr. Pareto?
Here.
Mr. Velardo? And Mr. Petrosi.
Yes, thank you very much. Mark, I'll let you
Thank you.
call our staff to duty.
Thank you very much. I'd ask Becky and Julie to come forward. I'll make some comments, and then we'll move on with the hearing. Once again, those of you at home and the board members of the board, you've done an incredible job with the budget. This is a budget that for my 9th year as superintendent, there is no increase to the tax levy. No increase to the tax levy. It remains the same. As you know, the tax levy changes based on assessment, but no raise to the tax levy. Not one reduction of a FTE. None of the current staff that we have are being reduced. I'm really proud that our workforce stays whole. We need everyone that we have, and we're hoping that we can find room to even increase our staff. Not one reduction in force. Not one program or initiative has been eliminated, reduced, or even tweaked downward. We hope we can do even more. It's a good budget. We have weathered ARP money. We weathered a lot of challenges, and we've been able to maintain all of our program. Our investment continues to be in our people and program. It is a budget that not only supports the students, it supports the staff, and it supports our buildings. I recommend this budget without any concern and with the fidelity and care and precision of making sure that we have our 9th clean audit as well. So Julie and Becky, take it away.
Thank you. So Becky did distribute our budget books to you. The yellow books, they are required to be in every district building and in the public libraries, and they have been for 2 weeks. Everything in this budget book is also available online on our website too, because there is required state information in there. So we'll start, Ray, with the first slide. So as Mr. Laurie said, this is our 13th year without recommending an increase to the tax levy. So the proposed tax levy is $25,828,989. And district leadership is committed to expanding instructional programming for all students with no increase to the tax levy through the strategic use of human, financial, and capital resources. And this is a look at our budget history. Our 24-25 budget is $190,992,049. The proposed 25-26 budget is $202,840,136, an increase of just over $11.8 million. That is a percentage change of 6.2%. The CPI is 2.95. But this proposed budget does include the first year of payment for debt service costs on our capital project, the ABOFA capital project, and that amount is $3.9 million. So had we excluded those costs, the budget change year over year is 4.18%, which is more in line with that CPI. Also, that CPI of 2.95 is prescribed by the state, but that is a little low, as we saw a lot of our contracts coming in at 4.1, some even 7%, so really our change of 4.18 is more in line with what we were seeing. And the proposed budget maintains all existing academic programs and staff. Our students need academic and social emotional opportunities and support in order to achieve and thrive. This slide shows our revenue and our revenue projections. You can see in local revenues there, we have our property taxes. We also have our pilot agreements, which are set by the Niagara County IDA. And then we have our tax on consumer utility bills. Overall, we expect to collect revenue of about $29.5 million, and that represents about 14.5% of our total revenue. Our largest revenue source is state aid. There are various forms of state aid, the largest being our foundation aid, which, as Mr. Lurie mentioned, was changed this year. We did just kind of get some preliminary information, so we're still sifting through that. But foundation aid at about $123 million is where we're at for this upcoming year, for the 25-26 year. The other aids through the state are mainly reimbursable aids. So we spend the money on transportation, building aid, our tuitions, and then our BOCES services, and we receive aid on that in the subsequent year. We also receive charter school aid and then instructional material aids for our library, textbook, software, and hardware. So in total, we are projecting state aid to be just a little over $164 million, which represents about 81% of our budgeted revenue. We then have miscellaneous revenues, which include our BOCES refund, our Niagara County pre-K reimbursement, interest that we earn on our investments, which is mainly CDs. We receive Medicaid revenue, and then also Greenway and host community monies through our NIPA agreement. Overall, that's just over 2% of our revenue. And then we did have to allocate some reserves, just over $3 million, and then also some use of fund balance, or our unassigned fund balance. So in total, that was about $4.8 million, so just over 2%. And that is how we arrive at our budgeted revenues of $202,840,136. And this is just a pie chart showing that large state aid piece, that orange there. So our largest source of revenue is state aid. We are heavily reliant on state aid at 81%. Then our local revenues next at about 14.5%. And just some revenue highlights, some changes year over year. So we did see an increase in state aid of approximately $12.6 million. That's mainly due to an increase in foundation aid because of some changes that were made to the foundation aid formula. And there also is new building aid that will be received on our ABOFA capital project. Miscellaneous revenues, we did see an increase of about $320,000. We budgeted that just due to our interest income that we're earning on our CDs. And as I said, we do plan to use reserves to balance this budget. We kind of used a little bit of each of our reserve based on a formula and a calculation of how the size of our expense and then also the size of our reserve. And then our use of fund balance of approximately $1.7 million, we're appropriating just to close our budget gap. And again, no change to the tax levy. So that's the revenue piece of our budget. I'll move on to the expense side of things. This is our proposed expenditures, and this is in the state-required three-part format. So you have our administrative expenses, which represents kind of our central expenses, all clerical, insurance expense, all of the administrators at the schools, and supplies and contracts that are district-wide, along with fringe benefits for those salaries that are associated with that category. So in total, that's about $23.4 million, representing 11.54%. We then have our capital piece of the budget, which represents all of our maintenance salaries, along with all of our security guards and security, the Evolve machines, also our utilities, supplies and contracts, any equipment purchases, our debt service costs, which are the costs of financing all of our capital projects, and then again, all of the fringe benefits that are associated with those salaries. That is just over 39.1 million, representing 19.32%. And then the largest piece of our budget is our program expense, which represents all of the salaries for our teachers, associates, nurses, psychologists, counselors, social workers, all of our special education programs, the tuitions associated with that, supplies and contracts, along with our transportation expense, and again, the fringe benefits associated with those salaries. So that is the largest piece at just over 140 million, representing 69.14% of our budget. So this is just a pie chart to see the program is our largest piece there. And then this is our projected expenditures by type or category. So our largest is obviously our salaries and wages. That represents about 40.53% of our budget. Our associated benefits with those salaries, so that would be all of our pension costs, our health, dental, vision, workers' compensation, and our employer Social Security and FICA tax. That is just over 22%. We then have our debt service costs, which is our mortgage payments on all of our capital projects, and our transportation costs with our contract providers. Utilities, our tuitions, that does include charter and then out-of-district placements for private and public. Our BOCES services, we subscribe to a lot of BOCES services with technology, a lot of PD programs, and that is over 15 million. And then other includes all of our other contracts, insurance, supplies, and miscellaneous. And again, just a pie chart just to kind of show the salaries and wages and the benefits being the two largest pieces. So some expenditure highlights. 3.3 million was an increase to salary and wages just based on contractual raises for all of our bargaining units. Healthcare, active and retiree, there was a $1.6 million increase year over year based upon rate increases. Debt service, we did see an increase of 3.5 million based upon the completion of that ABOFA capital project. And our transportation contracts did increase 502,000 based upon an anticipated CPI of 4.1%. Our tuitions also increased 1 million due to rate increases for both charter and out-of-district special need placements. And summer programming, there was an increase of 631,000 for summer programming. These costs were previously funded by ARP money, and ARP ran out in October of 2024, and so those costs had to be brought back into the general fund. So the 25-26 budget requires a simple majority. If a simple majority vote is not achieved, the district may be required to operate under a contingent budget. If we were to operate under a contingent budget, certain items have to be eliminated per the state, and these include student supplies, equipment purchases, and transportation would be limited to state limits. So a contingency budget would result in a reduction from the proposed budget of approximately $232,500 and would reduce the district's ability to help students acquire supplies and technology, place restrictions on transportation, and the community use of school buildings, while also eliminating any new purchases of equipment. However, all of these negative effects would happen, and yet the tax levy would remain unchanged at the $25,828,989. So this is our contingency budget comparison. This shows our adopted budget, the proposed budget, and then that contingent budget. Again, it's broken out into the required three-part format of administrative, program, and capital. And you can see the difference between the proposed and the contingent of that $232,500. These next slides are all things that have been brought before you before. So this is our property tax report card. We brought this for you on April 10th, and we submitted it on April 11th. Thanks, Ray. This is our budget notice. This was in our school's newsletter, and again was brought to the board on April 10th. Really just summarizes the total budget number, that contingent budget, and then the three-part administrative program and capital. So our bus contracts are multiple year contracts, and the costs for each year of the contracts are identified in their respective years. However, the only costs that are budgeted in the 25-26 budget are for the 25-26 school year. This is something a slide we're required to have. This is our salary disclosure. We are required to submit this, and we did on April 11th. This is our tax exemption impact report. This comes from the city assessor's office, and this lists out the amount of the school tax exemption by type of code. And so on the ballot, it will read, shall the Board of Education of the City School District of the City of Niagara Falls be authorized to expend the sum set forth in the proposed 25-26 budget in the total amount of $202,840,136 and to levy the necessary tax. And so voting will be available the city at all general election polling sites on May 20th, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. We ask everyone to please vote, and if you have any questions, to let us know.
So Julie made it seem really simple, like it took 5 minutes to do that. That took about 3 months, and it is completely accurate and completely transparent. I think the only comment I would make before we don't entertain any comments is if the budget did not get the 50%, you could redo the budget and have another vote, or you could go to a contingency budget. The contingency budget, if that's the way you chose, would only reduce $232,500. So it's not a large amount in the scope of a big budget. That's why voters have to make their own choice as to whether they want to do that or not. The drawback of going to a contingency budget is there's certain supplies we can't get for kids, certain transportation that we make allowances for under state limits, and most importantly, this district has had a history of using our schools as community buildings. If that was the case, everybody would be charged up front, full rate for every hour of community use. That would go away. So those are the negatives to it. The voters have their right to choose yes or no when they circle the box. I hope everybody gets out to vote. And I would encourage you, if you have any questions about the budget, to call Julie and or Becky. And if you have any questions about the election process, to call Judy Glasser. I want to thank you both for doing a great job, as per usual. And I think, once again, for those listening, watching, we're here to answer your questions. May 20th is the date. This is the best budget for the kids, the staff, the community of Niagara Falls. Thanks, ladies.
Anyone from the audience wish to address the board on the budget? I don't have anybody signed up. Saying that, motion for adjournment. Nick? Second, Tony? Questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good night, everybody.